Okay, folks, this takes me back to high school, but it didn't come off a high school piece of equipment. It came off another piece of the same model that was being disposed of by a company I was working for, and they were just getting rid of it, so I thought I'd souvenir this and keep it as a memento. And this is the same make and model as the one at school. I do wonder if we're going to make it black and white. Okay, let's see what this is. It is a name badge off an old photocopier that was being discarded. And this is the same machine that I had at high school, in the high school library at Killarney Heights High. And I was there from 1985 to 1989. And this machine was there all throughout that period. And and the first time, it was the first photocopier I ever actually used. I actually pressed the button on. First photocopier I ever used was this one, the Mitter DC232. So you can't get more historical than that in my personal books. You could call it humble beginnings, folks. That it was a real basic machine. It wasn't much to it, but it was quite an interesting experience using it. Had very rough quality about it. I used to keep telling my librarian, Mrs. Atkins, to get a new drum, as in a new imaging drum, or what they call an imaging unit, except it was actually a drum, not actually a whole unit. They made things differently back then. And that's on an angle. That slipped. But basically, yeah, I used to tell her to get a new drum for this machine ASAP because it was so badly scratched. The drum was so badly scratched, and it apparently was a problem with this particular model, at least. Or I don't know if other models were affected, but this machine was prone to having scratched drums. So drum is the I can't explain it, folks. It's hard to explain to people who are not understanding of this kind of technology, and copier theory is indeed very difficult, folks. I have a dream one day, folks, of redesigning the photocopier. I want to redesign the photocopier from scratch. I want to make it a machine that the photocopier, the hardware will last 60 years instead of only 5 years. You know, spare parts will be available pretty much for 60 years or it's hard to explain, folks, because even if you buy the machine, if the machine was launched in January and you get the full 60 years of spare parts availability, but if the machine was purchased in July, you lose 7 months off that 60. I don't know how to work that, but I want to work it ethically. And one way I'm thinking is that the price of the machine will depreciate. So you can buy them. The later you buy the machine, the more the better value you get. So because I want to be ethical, folks. I want to do it right. I don't want to rip anyone off. I'm not interested in ripping people off just to make money. Just because companies like this company who made this machine, Konica Minolta, wanted to discontinue spare parts less than 5 years. Again, I said 5 years, but I got this machine installed in April 2018, and the spare parts were discontinued in March this year. By Konica Minolta, the manufacturer. So, I really hate, I want to do things right. I don't want to do it wrong. I want to make the world a better place. I want to make a photocopier that works, that's easy to operate, that uses artificial intelligence to drive the features, and to not make the fancy bells and whistles as standard, but to have them as an option to be downloaded off the internet, like a iTunes or an iTunes or a Google Play kind of arrangement, so you can pick and choose the features you need and want, not what the factory has set, except for basics like enlargements, reductions, duplex, double-sided and all that sort of shit. And that's come up looking quite nice, actually. It's quite a nice pastel. I do like that overall. I might darken it. But basically, I want to make the photocopier something that people will find enjoyable to use, not a fucking chore. I want to make photocopying a pleasure, and I want to make these equipments from recycled materials instead of mined materials. I want to be able to use less plastics. Instead of plastic, we have the internal chassis will be made out of titanium, and the external panels will not be made of plastic. They'll also be made out of metal, like aluminium, anodized aluminium, and you can choose the different colours to have it in. So you don't have to be stuck with beige or charcoal or whatever those colours that typically are used in these equipments. So basically, I want to make this really personal, a real personal experience, and I want to use recycled materials from waste dumps around the world as well as here in Australia. And incidentally, I nearly got to remember, this company is going to be Australian owned, and the product is going to be Australian designed and Australian made. So it's going to be full on Australian, although we will allow skilled migrants who've been naturalised as Australians to work here. So we want to make this even, because Australia should be the place of the fair go, and anyone who comes to settle in Australia and call Australia home should be given a fair treatment. Whether from wherever they come around the world, they just have to get naturalised and basically show a marked passion for photocopying equipment, to be what's known as a toner head. A toner head is basically a photocopier nerd or geek, a special kind of nerd or geek that's especially into photocopiers, and basically this is their passion and this is what they want to work with, and we want to make these people feel welcome, and wherever they come from around the world, at least give them a fair go. And you got to be basically passionate about photocopiers. You must not be a money fucker. You must not be a person who wants to do this job just because it's lucrative. That's not allowed. You can't have that. You got to have a bloody passion for the equipment and for the product. That's the main criteria. And this stupidity here is what money fucking does. Makes a shitty experience. So, I really don't want my machinery to be like this. I don't want it to be shitty, crappy type equipment. I want my equipment to be something to be proud, that you can enjoy, and that you'd be proud to have in your office, that you'd be proud to be using and enjoying the experience of it, instead of hating it, instead of coming to the office thinking, oh shit, photocopier, facing the photocopier again. I do think I might have done this wrong. I do want to try to, I don't know folks, I'm trying to make this look really nice, because this is about my life, at high school, because I was really into photocopiers back then, and this was the machine that started it all, that I first had access to. And I had access to them in public libraries, but I used to be a little bit nervous about approaching them. But basically, yeah, I'm trying my best. And even one of the things, personalised things that's going to make this machine stand out, apart from the fact that its featuring is hopefully going to be second to none, is that you can choose the finish of your machine, whether you want blue anodised aluminium or yellow or red or green or some other colour. You can choose, you can pick and choose, and you can order it to especially to made to measure, or maybe not measure, but so we can make these out of, and it's going to be recycled materials. So places like China and India, where a lot of electronic waste gets dumped, we're going to exhume that shit, and we want to make these countries nice and clean again. We want to pay attention to them and make their place clean and fresh, so they can enjoy life and be well, instead of being sick because of the fucking pollution that's on there. So it's not just about helping Australia. We want to help the world. And there's going to be places. This equipment is going to be. I don't know what I'm doing here, folks. So yeah, this equipment is going to be exported around the world. It's going to be manufactured, of course, in Australia. We're not using slaves to put it together. We're not using slaves to make it. We're going to make it with people who get paid a decent wage instead of slave wage. We're going to make this into a movement piece. We want to make this into a place that's really a happy place to work and to be in. And it has to be, we have to pay these people, regardless of whether they're Chinese Australians or Australian-born Australians. We're not going to fucking treat them like slaves, for example, because they work as slaves in their own country, which is really wrong. But basically, we want them to feel really, really welcome, and we want to give them a fair go. The Aussie thing known as the fair go. So this was the one we just did before. So we just give them a fair go, folks. We just need to give them a fair go. And I think I've chosen the wrong colour, because this will turn yellow and that's going to turn yellow. So I don't want yellow on yellow. But basically, we don't want this unfair treatment that we have in today's industry. That industry of today is all about money, and the people that put the equipments together typically don't care about anything else but what they can get out of it financially. So, but basically I want to redesign the photocopier from scratch because I'm passionate about it. I really care about how the equipment works and how it functions, and we're going to make these. It's going to be interesting that these apps that we're going to make for this machine will seamlessly integrate with the artificial intelligence that's been factory built. That's one of the factory built functions, will be the artificial intelligence. So it'll work with both. Yeah, that looks really nice, but we got the wrong colour. Looks shit house. But basically, the red's not the right colour. Cyan or blue. But basically, we have to we make it artificial intelligence so that the machine itself will, with the basic features, will adjust the way you want it to, with very little prompting. And also, when you have apps installed on your photocopier that the artificial intelligence will recognise that and also make the necessary adjustments. So we're going to be really close to being what we could call perfectionists when it comes to designing this stuff. We're not going to make it like a homework hack job, as these companies like to. So, you know, and we've got to be passionate about our product instead of just doing it for the sake of the money. That looks really quite interesting. I do think maybe a positive image might be better than a negative image. I don't know. This is a tricky one, folks. So I'm trying to get my... First thing I'm trying to do, folks, is to get recognised. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I forgot to set it to dark. I'm pretty sure I did. That's why it's so fucking wishy-washy. But basically, yeah, I'm trying to get on the 6 o'clock news on Channel 9 as a photocopier artist. That's the starting point. And I'm trying to get in touch with my partner Luigi, who, with his help, we can get this project happening. So it's really difficult trying to get recognised. I'm trying to get recognised as an artist first and getting in touch with my partner and to get things happening with this project of the future. And this looks really quite interesting, but I don't like it. Actually, no, I can see the word meter, so that might be a good one. So yeah, I really want to make this machine, this new piece of kit, into something really wonderful and good for the planet, and most of the money I earn will be given to good causes, to help the planet and help society, you know, make the world a better place instead of the shit that we've come to know that the world has become. I'm going to do it like this again. So I'm really trying to get my stuff out there, and I have really good intentions. I just need help with. Now, I did do that wrong. I was meant to switch that back to that, but basically I'm trying my best to get out there and on the 6 o'clock news where it's at. Otherwise I'll never get anywhere, folks. So I need Channel 9 to assist me in all this. And that's come up looking quite interesting. Do think we can utilise that. I'm going to make it into a dual colour job. So this was our master copy. So yeah, we're going to clean up the mess. We're going to make the world a better place, and we're going to make this equipment really top notch. And basically, yeah, we might even have we'll even have really funky types of external panels, including transparent, what they call transparent aluminium, called Alon, which is a ceramic material that is transparent, and it's made of aluminium, oxygen and nitrogen, hence the term Alon. So Alon is the name for it, is the word, and that would make a real nice funky external panel finish. But then of course you have also other finishes like titanium and stainless steel. So you can do all these different finishes, and you can have also the conservative finishes like powder coat aluminium if you want the beige, or if you want the charcoal, for example. And you know, everything's got to be your choice, folks. Or even just, and if you want to be really budget conscious, you can just go for the plain aluminium, the plain polished aluminium. That's quite a nice looking finish itself, even though it's going to be a very basic sort of an entry level finish, but that doesn't matter. Looks aren't everything, but if you want to make it look funky and to your decor. That's the choice you get with this equipment. And we're going to use less plastics. We're going to use, and whatever materials that we recycle that we can't use because we're not using much. Like there's so much plastic that needs to be recycled in this world, and our product is going to use little plastic as possible. We're going to be using things like metal, ceramic, glass, more and less plastics. The plastic still has to go somewhere, so I'm thinking we might even donate recycled plastic pellets to those who want it. So to make the world a better place. We can't take the plastic waste and incinerate it, because burning plastic is extremely toxic. And while some people like to argue that it can be treated while it's for power, waste to power, I think it's called, using incineration to make electricity, which I think is horrible. It's primitive, it's disgusting, and it's really not acceptable. So I want to do something to divert waste away from the incinerator, folks, because that looks like people are losing hope that they can do something useful, and they just resort to old-fashioned disgusting methods like incineration, to thinking, there's too much landfill waste. What the fuck? Where did it go wrong, folks? How did our world get stuck back into incineration? We can't have that, folks. We can't have it. We have to fucking find uses for our waste. We've got to exhume it, and that's what I want to do building this photocopier. Is I want to be setting an example to others so that they might also follow, and that we will have a cleaner and greener and happier planet. And this has come together looking quite interesting. This is different to what I was expecting. I was expecting to do this one, and now I think we can now call it quits. That looks interesting. I think we can call it quits. Gotta go.